Okay. Here we go. Blessings, good people.
Oh, hello. Hello, who's first? Drum roll, please. Drum roll. Waiting. Do we have anybody on yet? I don't see anybody on.
No, it usually takes a second or two. And again,
Impatient.
she's
I
impatient.
don't believe in time. And I don't believe in time, and I'm impatient. So there.
Okay, so if you don't believe in time and you're impatient, and okay, well, I guess not much I can say to that.
Yes.
So there it is.
Go, Benzomatic 9. First, you are first. Hooray. Good job.
Absolutely. Thank you guys, as always, for your support, your love. Claudette Malaspina is here. Good morning. Michelle M. is here. Good morning as well.
Happy day, Mark Smith. Rock and roll Jesus. Sup, what's up with you?
It's a beautiful morning. There's some gray clouds out there. They were doing their thing in the middle of the night, giving us a little extra dose of aluminum. But the sun is out and we will take it. Jenny Pace is in the house. Awesome. Carolina Dream, howdy.
Howdy, guys. Oh my gosh, and mic'd up mashups. I like that.
Yes, the first shall be last and the last shall be first.
You know, when I see that, it reminds me of when I went on we were on a ride, one of those rides where you go and, well, you're on the roller coasters and stuff. And the way that the line was set up was very unusual because it looked like you were last in line, but then all of a sudden a door next to you opens and suddenly you're first in line. So there's that. What do we think about that? Could happen. Everything could happen that way. You think you're lagging, but really you're in first place. I like that idea. I really like that idea.
Yes, and it's interesting to watch because we always run into these technical difficulties. Again, people that are trying to help humanity ascend typically do run into issues technically. Claudette, yes, I am feeling much better. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal, absolutely out of the blue. But in some ways, I feel like I'm better than ever. Which is really cool. I feel like I cleared a lot of energies that needed to be cleared. I think part of that happened because I didn't eat anything for 5 or 6 days, and when you really fast, it definitely helps to purge toxins. It helps to lift you up in frequency as well.
With indigenous Native Americans, they believed that was the way to talk to the gods. You simply stopped eating, but they would do it for more like 7 days, and then they would go and they would talk to their creator or their god, and they were extremely connected. So fasting is just it's a way to get closer to your source, to that being that you are appreciating, or that energy that you're appreciating, because there's a lot involved with it. But the quickest way is to have fasting. The fasting is the quickest way to get closer to your source. That's from my own personal experience, and then watching Mike do it too.
I think I was 11 when I fasted for the first time consciously, and I was motivated because it was Easter time, and I was deep in the Bible, and also reading other things even at that time. I think it was around 12 when I first started to read about pranic healing and energy work and healing and the power of consciousness. So it's again, it is all about understanding the bigger picture. This is a temporary human experience that we are having here. We're not necessarily always human. In fact, often in the majority of the time, we don't necessarily have bodies like this. Our bodies are our vehicle. They are a way for us to explore this density, to learn and to grow. Katie Moyer, good to see you.
And George Claus, good to see you too. Great to see you guys in here. So this is a fun video. This is a video that's going to be talking about unity consciousness. And, you know, there's some really good things about it. And there's some things that we need to be careful of, because I'm that kind of person. I really love the togetherness and the oneness aspect of things. But we still have a little ways to go in healing our minds, bodies, and souls to truly come together. Because when, and this has come up a couple of times, you know, talking with Source and talking with your guides, and when you understand that, you know, you are one, it brings a whole new perspective to the whole situation. And when it comes to Source, it is very much like talking to yourself, but there's a distinct energy that Source is one thing and you have your own identity. It's not that you are separate, but you do have an identity that is apart from Source, yet you have that strong understanding that Source is one, and that's where you come from.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the whole episode with my health helped me to refocus on really what I've been receiving for a long time, and that's that it's primarily about sharing the knowledge and the experience that we've had with others. That is what needs to happen now, because humanity needs to shift its perspective. We really have to shift the way we look at things. You know, what are we looking at here? Well, you might recognize the human energy field as a torus. Think of it as a big donut shape energy field. This is what the human energy field looks like. And so you see there are funnels that lead in between the feet there, and there's funnels that lead in over the head. Now, when we're standing next to somebody, and even if we're 6 feet away from them, you are still in their energy field. So again, think about it. When you're walking through a busy, crowded city, do you know how many energy fields you are coming in contact with? One after another after another. Humanity is going to be getting more psychic, more sensitive to energies, more empathetic. We have to learn how to deal with this. We have to learn how to balance being compassionate human beings with also giving ourselves the break we need. If you have too much stimuli, it can overwhelm the system. So, you know, again, one of the best recommendations that we can give is to give yourself time away in nature. Give yourself space whenever possible. In these times, because we are doing so much, we're doing so much work. Even when you're just lying in bed, you're doing work. You're literally clearing DNA damage and ancestral damage. You're clearing away at this point in time. Oh, beautiful hummingbird out there, a couple of hummingbirds. You're clearing away all sorts of traumas from your own life, from past lives, again, from your ancestors. And, you know, we move forward, backwards, and side to side in this time-space continuum.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's important when we're dealing with our energy field to recognize, when are we looping? When are we just looping and following that subconscious and letting subconscious drive the truck, when it's probably not a very good idea, because subconscious is there to keep you safe. It's to keep you to not make the same mistake twice or 3 times. So a lot of times subconscious, if we have a trauma, subconscious will be right there in the way. So when we are trying to do something different, subconscious says, no, we tried that once before. That didn't go over very well. Here, I'm going to take charge. So understanding when we are looping and when we are stuck in the same pattern to help us break out so we can move forward DNA memory is so amazingly powerful. A lot of times, if you have parents or aunts or uncles that have a particular trauma, it's in your DNA to hold on to that trauma and follow and do the same actions that they did. So it's not only do you have to worry about your own patterning and your own trauma, there is information in there from past family members or even past lives that could keep you kind of locked into that stuck programming.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is a huge time. This is the beginning of a new age. This is the beginning of a new epoch, a new era. And I think perhaps the biggest shift is going to be in perspective. And that's so key. So look at these energy fields and how they interact. And what do you see in the middle? Here we see two torus fields. In the middle, it makes a sphere that looks very, very much planetary in shape. Yeah, exactly. It's the interaction of many different consciousnesses that come together to have a shared experience, yet that this experience is also completely individual. So that's really what I want to get across. So much of the time we're told we have to conform. We have to conform to society. Again, I think as long as you are not harming anybody and you are being a unique version of you, because one size does not fit all. If that was the case, we wouldn't have all these different fractals of source, just like diamonds reflecting the light of source, each in its own unique way. This one's beautiful from that angle. This one's beautiful from that other angle. This is the way we have to look at things. We have to change our perspective and celebrate the uniqueness of the individual, and at the same time not force an individual to conform to what society deems that it must be. I see Anna Trejos is in the house. Good to see you, Anna. Bluebell UK, good to see you as well. Much love. Our beloved Rosemary is here as well. Belle B finally caught alive. Awesome. So glad. She says, you have helped me so much. That's exactly why we're here, to help people. But yet, when you help people, ultimately, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So a good healer will recognize that you are a conduit for energies that are needed to be worked on, in many cases to be purged, let go, realized. But it's really the individual that does their own healing. You cannot do the healing for the person. That's up to the person. And so much of the time, some people will not be ready when you're ready. So, everybody at their own pace.
Everybody at their own pace. And that's the uniqueness and that's the beauty of having our individual experience and, understanding when you are dealing with your stuff and when are you dealing with someone else's stuff. I think we have a little ways to go with that, because as we become more and more psychic, we are picking up information not just from ourselves, but we're picking up information from other people, and the importance of healing, or at least knowing where you stand energetically. So if your energies are traumatized, and as long as you know that, you are able to continue to walk into alignment while you work on your own traumas. And then if someone else's trauma comes in from left field, you're able to recognize that and say, hey, that's not mine. This is something that they have to deal with. So I think in many ways, well, unity consciousness is wonderful, but I think in so many ways we're still working on individual consciousness and mastering that.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome, Mitch. Welcome, Jed. When you look at under a microscope, again, the human body is made up of almost countless cells. And then as many cells as there are in the body, there's at least 10 times more things that are not your cells that are living in your body. So this is part of our changing of perspective. Do you think that bacteria, amoeba, and cells see themselves the way we look at and see them under a microscope? Do they see themselves like this? Or are they looking through a different lens at their own selves? Maybe they see themselves like this. Again, we live in a holographic universe, which again is an agreed upon illusion, so to speak, but very, very real experience. Again, the creator of this universe is a very, very advanced being, and benevolence is at the core purpose of this creation. Now, yet, again, we do have a dark matrix within the natural matrix, which has taken hold of the system, so to speak, in a small portion, because again, the Kali Yuga itself is the smallest of the ages, thankfully, and it impacts us in a big way, and it brings a lot of huge lessons. But, take heart. Again, we have left the Kali Yuga. So where are we going? We're going on the ascension path. We're going on the path of light. More light, which again, light is information. Light is gnosis. It's knowing. It's knowing that you can experience. Because again, when the light of the sun and the other stars out there impact you, when they hit your skin, when they go through your body, again, neutrinos are going through your body all the time. They're going through the entirety of the planet. And, this is bringing us life-changing information. And one of the biggest life-changing pieces of information we could have is perhaps the greatest mystical saying of all time, which is, we are one, the oneness. And this is what was hitting me last night in bed when I was having a little bit of trouble getting to sleep at first. It was the oneness of all things. And this is what the guides kept coming through telling me to, again, get out there and reiterate with you guys, which I know you get this. I know if you're listening to us, you get it. Maybe you don't get all the details, but you get it. And we don't get all the details because this is always a learning experience. And in many ways, this is a remembering experience.
Mm-hmm. And we have to keep in mind we're in a world of polarity, so there's not going to be just one way of doing things. We walk in the light and we walk in the darkness, and I think key for this life is to learn to balance that, not have too much light, not have too much dark, but the unity of the two can bring about the most creativity. Understanding in nature that polarity exists everywhere we look, and using that polarity energy to propel us forward. With every magnet has two poles, a north and a south, and opposite poles attract. This is what we need to bring this energy into focus and utilize it for creative purposes. And when we look at the dark matrix, it's like they've hijacked a lot of that. And now here we're in a world where we have to understand it, learn about it, take control of it, and not allow ourselves to get pulled too far into that dark matrix and know what it is, but at the same time live our individual life. It's like you cannot just dance around this matrix that we live in. We have to live here. We need electricity. We all watch YouTube. If you're trying to avoid AI, I've not been successful, because even just being on YouTube, you're involved with AI. I think it's a matter of how far are you going to step into that, and where are your boundaries? Boundaries, I feel, are very important right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I wanted to give to you again, when you look at the amoebas and the bacteria and, even the individual cells in the human body, do you think they look at themselves in this manner? Or are they thinking that they are something akin to us and having their own experience, here going about their very, very busy lives? This has always hit me, going back to being maybe 12 years old, that realization. The other realization is when you look out to the stars. What are the stars? Well, these are beings too. So whether we're looking into the bloodstream and we're looking at all these different entities, each one a unique individual unit of consciousness, each one apparently separate, doing its own thing. And yet, at the same time, there is a greater whole. It's the same thing. As above, so below. As within, so without. When you see the stars, I really believe that what you're looking at is, in many ways, our higher selves. Just think about the stars. They are energetic big balls of light, and they'll tell us, gases and chemical interactions. And yeah, sometimes I'm a little too gassy myself, and you have to, go with the flow. But at the same time, we have a lot to share with each other. And think about it. If the stars created planets to create worlds in which they could come and incarnate a portion of themselves to have all these wonderful adventures, and yet they knew that at some point in time they could go back and always look at things from the perspective of the higher self, then we could maybe understand a bigger part of the picture. We are a part of the whole. We are a cell, and yet we are a unique individual, and we are a universe. You are a universe. It is written, ye are gods. Don't you know ye are gods? Yes, absolutely. And in the sense that we are a part of Source, the one Source, again, which has divided itself into countless little fractals to explore itself and to keep itself occupied and to learn and to grow and to become a better creator ourselves. This is what we're in training for. How do we become the very best creative force we can be to, again, help others as well?
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to help others, focusing on yourself first, getting yourself grounded and centered, and bringing your own life force and energy into focus and keeping that protected to a degree. There's a lot of people that want and need help out in the world, but how many of them are truly ready to help themselves? A lot of people, they want healing, but they're not willing to give up the things that made them sick in the first place. And then they also want healing, but they're not wanting to take part in their own healing. They just want it done for them. So sometimes folks like that, they're not quite ready. They're not quite ready to heal. And if you are a healer, an energy worker, it's important to recognize that so you're not contributing to them kind of staying sick, because if you try to work on them, they might get a little temporary relief, but at the same time, they're not making any changes. So whatever made them sick is going to come back.
Yes. And, it's interesting, too, that in many of the myths, you will see human beings that end up being put up in the sky to watch the goings on of those beings that are going from planet or to planet. Loka, again, in the Hindu, in Sanskrit, is a world. And we understand it from the Sanatana Dharma clearly that there are many different, and it's amazing how much is just straight out there in the teachings of the Sanatana Dharma, which literally means eternal truth, eternal wisdom, eternal way. It really translates pretty much the same as the Tao. And, again, it's in pretty good agreement with the Tao for the most part. Again, when we look at different belief systems, it's important to see what suits you at this point in time, and then be willing to go ahead and move forward. You might find that you release some of those belief systems because they took you to a certain point, and then, I'm stuck. I need to go further. And then you find something else that resonates a little bit more, and maybe you take a little bit from this and a little bit from that. Again, no one size fits all. But in many of the mythologies, humans are, again, kind of deified and put up in the sky as stars. Well, ultimately, again, the stars in a way are our higher selves. And, who creates the worlds? Ultimately, we do when you get down to it. You are creating your own world right now. Every lifetime that you come in and have these experiences, you will be able to go back and revisit and play out other possible timelines in the future.
Yeah, and let's take a look at that for a moment. You know, different belief systems. There's so many that are out there. It's endless, you know, different ways of understanding things, different perspectives, and what is right for you, and how do you not get yourself caught up in something that's going to get you stuck. And usually the higher self knows. A lot of times we might step into a belief system, and after a while it just starts to not feel right, and there's reasons for that. The reason being, you know, you've either gone up in vibration or you've gone down in vibration, and that's just not fitting with you anymore, and you start to look for something else. But over time, when you do all the study and all the learning, you start to develop your own. At least that's what happened for me. I developed my own understanding. And someone was mentioning, I just got a quick look at it. They were talking about tinnitus. Tinnitus can be a couple of things. You know, we can't give any kind of medical information at all, but in my experience, it's been a change in the energies. If I'm doing my mantras, or if I'm sitting quietly in meditation, or if I'm talking with someone, a lot of times I will get that ringing in my ears, and then that's telling me to stop and listen. It's like, okay, what is this energy change in frequency trying to tell me? But we should always keep an eye on our health too in other ways.
Absolutely. If you could see what your chakras look like as you're walking along, yeah, this is a great diagram. You know, again, when you see tornadoes and hurricanes in nature, well, yeah, the funnel, the spinning, whirling vortex, you have tons of those. In fact, right here, you're looking at the main chakras along the human body, which are, again, always bringing in subatomic particles, energy, life force, chi, prana, ki, vril, into your body. And they are also interdimensional portals. It is said that a different Vedic deity resides in each one of these and holds the key to passage through them. Now, you can learn to utilize the chakras for healing for yourself and also for healing with others. Again, we are going to, and we have been sharing a lot of knowledge. We have so much more to share with you guys, and that's going to be one of the main focuses moving forward, is teaching people different techniques so they can heal themselves and also learn to help others heal. Because you never heal somebody else per se. It's only bringing about the resonant frequencies that they can utilize to pull themselves up. We all have our own karma to deal with. We all have our own traumas to work through and sort out. So again, nobody ever really heals somebody else. They just bring about the conditions with which the person can heal. Besides these big ones, you would see chakras on the end of every finger, every toe, every major joint. There's chakras. In fact, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of chakras in the human body. Here you see mental centers. Again, they have different frequencies. Will centers, feeling sensors, absolutely. You want to have them open and functioning all the time. Now, they could shut down at any time. Again, you could get news that mom is sick, or something happened, or the bank's closed, whatever it is. These things can impact us and shut down chakras. And when we have our chakras closed, then we cannot interact with others as well. And this is part of what the dark matrix utilizes. They shut us down through various traumas. And then that keeps us from resonating, feeling, and sensing, and being more empathetic with others.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much, Bell B. We appreciate that a lot. It definitely goes to a good cause. And at the end, if you can just hang out to the end, we're going to be working on the solar plexus for that. That's the fork that came up for you. So definitely hang out at the end, and other people will benefit from that tuning as well. So a lot of times these chakras can get shut down through thoughts. I mean, a simple thought can just shut down all the information quickly too. So that's why another reason it's very important to work on yourself, work on mind, body, spirit, healing the soul, and exercising that energy body. Once that energy body comes online, you have the opportunity to make it stronger every day. And there's certain practices that can make your energy body stronger, that can make you a stronger manifester. It can make you more magnetic to pull in the things that you want to pull in. And that's, when we are working on people, that's what we do. We magnetize their body. And I always tell people that it's a great time to work on their manifestation list when we are running that energy work, because it brings harmony to you. So all those things that you want to do in this life, it's time to move into alignment and really focus on those while your energy is that way. And then also you can hold that magnetism too if you do certain practices.
Again, when you understand how the energy bodies are always interacting with others, we can see how we can get disconnected. The biggest change in perspective is that of understanding, again, the unity of all things. We are ultimately individual units of consciousness having our own apparently separate individual lives, but we're all connected. We are part of one bigger body. And you could see this reflected in so many different traditions. It's something that is universal, and it is time to look at the good and that which we can utilize of a universal nature in each system, and to disperse with and cut away the dogma that divides. Again, dogma divides, but love will connect us, and empathy, and also when you are feeling other people's frequencies, you do need time to disconnect. Especially if you are a healer of any sorts, whether you're an energy healer, whether you're a nurse, a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, social worker. Oh man, you need time to disconnect. And, again, sometimes those were the people that I found had the most traumas and energies built up around them, because they were all day long helping others, trying to help others process, and taking on too much of other people's energies. So when we interact with each other, literally the chakras will open up, and they'll either connect or they won't. Again, it depends on the people. Some people you'll meet and all of a sudden you just love them. You just feel like, I resonate with this person. I get this person. Other people may, cause a cautious reaction. Again, it's when our energy fields are coming together and they're interacting. You can see, again, these are some of the different type of energy field interactions that we can have. We can put up force fields around us. We can withdrawal. We can, do so many different things when we're interacting with people. And sometimes people have overbearing energies, and they'll kind of push their energy into your zone. And then you may react in a very, very defensive way. This is part of where coming to that understanding, that we are so much more than just a physical body. And when we're interacting with people, we're having an effect on them consciously and subconsciously.
So, what happened, this thing that happened over in Idaho, and those people were severely traumatized, that is going to affect their energy body. And that is definitely something that could be addressed with energy work, because what happens is the trauma happens external you, and it affects your energy body. So they probably put up many blocks, rightfully so, because they're wanting to protect themselves. So the first thing that happens to somebody in trauma is their energy kind of sucks in all around them. Their energy gets small because it's trying to protect, it's trying to hug. So we're not in that expansive state. But when you have energy work done, and you're able to repattern that energy field, and that person like literally relaxes. A lot of times people come to us and their shoulders are super, super tight, and they have headaches and migraines, or these aches and those, all kinds of stuff. when you work on that energy field, it really helps to just kind of let the shoulders relax. That's one of the things I hear quite often. People don't even know how tense their shoulders are. So most people do walk around with an energy field that's closed in and very tight in their body, and they probably had a trauma that, rightfully so, they should be acting that way. But it's when we stop for a minute and check in with ourselves. So important to check in with yourselves, saying, how am I? How is my energy field? Am I afraid to be in my own body? And in this time, while we are becoming more and more psychic, a lot of people are becoming afraid to be in their body because it can be painful. They have not dealt with the traumas. So it's just something to keep in mind. It's a difficult time out there right now. Be good to yourself.
Absolutely. And, chronic conditions usually have something to teach us that we haven't learned yet. That is a big reveal. So, again, the answers are going to be found within. And yet, again, we can absorb all sorts of information externally. It's until we kind of process and have a realization internally that's when we're going to get the change. That's when we're going to get the shift. Of course, being around people that lift you up in frequency is something that is definitely desirable. Being around very, very like-minded people can definitely have a big beneficent response in our own energy systems. I think it's very important to realize, again, you see the physical body there, you see the aura, the hara, and the connection to both the earth and the cosmos and your core star. Because again, ultimately, you are a star. You are a magnificent being, and you are providing life to trillions of entities within you. And so, this is how the blueprint of this manifest reality works. So if we want to start working on our relationships with others, we really do have to be honest with ourselves. We have to do a lot of introspection, and we have to change the perspective again of how we view the world as again, realizing that what we perceive as the exterior world is a reflection of our own interior world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, those things that we see on the outside of us. What is a really good example is someone who might have a lot of clutter around them, understanding that external clutter is also internal clutter. So the more, and it does help to clean up your surroundings. It just helps in the soul. If you've noticed, if you clean off your desk or, just clean up a little space and just sit there with that cleanliness, you feel better. I mean, the energy flows through your system so much better. So the universe truly is a mirror. And it kind of depends on where you're at in frequency, if you're ready to see that mirror or not, and whether higher self has decided that you even need to see that aspect of yourself. And then you also have to take in mind, it's like maybe you see that aspect of yourself, but are you perceiving it in the way that you need to perceive it? So there is a lot going on right now in the world when it comes to us changing our vibration, moving up in vibration.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you want to become the very best version of yourself, we have to be honest with ourselves at first. Ask ourselves, is there anything that we need to let go of? Certainly negative addictions. Work through them one at a time. Are you still smoking? Are you still eating all sorts of sugar and GMO foods? Are you again, doing things that are detrimental to your health and to really everyone around you when you get down to that? Because again, the energy fields are always merging and intermingling with others. Are you holding a good frequency, a high frequency? Again, it's the emotions that can cause so many issues. Learning to control the emotions, feeling the emotions of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the biggest ones. Feeling gratitude and love and empathy, it's all expansive. It's expansive. Again, the system, the world system, the dark matrix, they're always trying to get your energy field to contract. They want it to contract. They want to have you withdraw your energy and your loving compassion from others through fear-based control system. And that way, when you have those reactions and you're contracting your energy field, you are literally shutting down your own chakras. And again, that's going to keep us from sensing and feeling what other people are feeling and sensing. It's going to withhold some of the empathy and the connection we can have with others. Again, a great place to start with is, even if you are going through really, really rough times, make a little list and write down some things that you have gratitude for. What are you grateful for? And it may be just simply my sister. It may be my wife. It may be my puppy, my kitten. It could be the beautiful view I'm looking at right now. It may be the love of a parent that has long left you. It could be anything. But start to focus on the gratitude side of things and what is good and what makes you happy, and expand instead of the negative.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to start with baby steps, because a lot of our trauma comes in during childhood. When we are children, we are at the mercy of beings that are probably also traumatized. Let's not forget that. And you want to definitely give yourself a lot of slack, because we have to process through the emotions. We can't just pretend that they're not there. If you're feeling them, you're feeling them. That's very, very important to recognize that. And that's the first step toward healing is, why am I feeling this? Where did this come from? What happened in my life to bring this energy about? And it's about picking yourself apart in such a way to remedy that energy. And when you go back to that time when the thing happened, and you remedy that, and you realize, oh my gosh, that was not okay. And all these years I've just been pushing it under the carpet. But now this is your time to go back through and reprocess in such a way that's going to bring about a certain amount of healing. And shadow work is definitely important, and going back to your childhood. So if you did have parents that were abusive, what you have to do, or what you had to do, was go along with the abuse, because you needed to eat. You needed to sleep, you needed to be clothed, you needed love, you needed support. So this person, or your persons who are in your life, who are also traumatized, and bringing this information to you that if you were an adult, you would not accept it, but you're a child. So it's like you have to justify it somehow. And that's how many of us end up in relationships where we continually justify the other person's behavior, because it's been learned into you from a very small age. So give yourself that understanding and realize, hey, I have to repattern myself here. And that's how I found tuning forks, because there's a lot of things that go on within me that are damaged DNA from my father's side, and I didn't even realize that. And when I found out that tuning forks can actually repattern that, going back to the ancestral line, that's what I needed, because I can't remember, and I don't know all the traumas that my father went through. I only know the traumas that I went through, and I have to ask myself, why are you doing these things? Why are you continually creating this situation for yourself?
So, our energy fields, again, they are pliable, just like water. Again, anytime you're going to go eat or drink something, charge it. Put the intention out there that's going to be beneficial for body, mind, and spirit. Lift you up in frequency, that it brings the nutrients to your body that your body needs, that it helps to clear away any sort of dis-ease, any sort of toxins. It's very, very powerful when you realize that your intent can affect matter. And it does all the time. So this is from Dr. Emoto's experiments on water. And, our energy field and water are very similar in this manner. So you can program your energy field. And that's why I use Vedic mantras, because these frequencies come from extraterrestrial interdimensional beings outside of the Kali Yuga, before the Kali Yuga. One other little thing I wanted to touch on, you see this is deceitful over here. There is no lying and getting away with it in the Silver Age or the Gold Age. People can't lie. And even towards the latter part of the Bronze, and those right now, you can sense when people are lying and being deceitful. This is something when you are activated, your pineal gland is working, your Merkaba is running. You just automatically know. Telepathic beings automatically see through any sort of deceit or lies. So this is why the system has to collapse, because it's founded on lies. So again, we're all going to know. Anybody that is going the natural route and you are on the ascension path, you're going to know, and they can't get it by you. They simply can't. Be mindful, again, of what we put into our energy fields, because you might like some heavy, intense music, but it's going to be akin to turning on cortisol on the body, so you don't want that going all the time. You want to cultivate peace as much of the time as possible, and ease in the body. So again, it's so important how we program our energy fields, programming the energy fields through intent. Again, you are co-creators. You're creating your own universe, and this is a universe you could go back to and explore. Recognize that everything is alive. Everything has a consciousness. Even, an apple has a consciousness. Of course, the one consciousness that resides in you resides throughout everything in the manifest universe. So this is that change of perspective to starting to look at things in a totally different way. Everything is totally interconnected. There's nothing that's really not interconnected in the natural matrix. So again, taking hold of this and recognizing some of the great truths like this, the Hermetic principles, as above, so below, as within, so without. There is nothing more real than consciousness. In fact, consciousness in many ways is far more real than anything made of physical matter, because it is permanent, and physical matter will change, it will deteriorate, it will break down over time and become something else again and anew. Maybe you're not crazy about Mondays. I get it. Some days, a little lower energy than others. It's to be expected. Again, what would we do if we didn't have to work to pay taxes all the way through May? Oh, we could be a lot more creative beings. And yet so many people are really fighting the current. We have to learn how to go with the Tao. The Tao is the natural way, the natural order of things. So, heading straight forward into against the flow of energies, well, it's going to take a lot more energy, right? We have to learn how to utilize the natural energies around us to propel us forward.
I see what's the silver lining in it. If you are kind of forced to go against the energies, what's the benefit of that? Well, this guy is getting a really good power wash. He's going to feel super clean.
Yeah, and that's again finding, the good in everything. Share love. We are all here having a temporary human experience. And again, that one consciousness that is the one consciousness that pervades the entirety of the multiverses, it's within all of us. See that. Recognize the self in others and share the love, share the empathy, share the gratitude. Don't focus on the negative. Be mindful of challenges that can arise. But together, especially together, we can seriously overcome.
And I want to say again, thank you to Belby. And today, the fork that came up for you was your solar plexus. So focus a moment on your sense of self, and we're going to clear out that solar plexus and make it a little bit stronger. Take some deep breaths. Everybody's going to benefit from this. So everybody say thank you to Belby. We appreciate it so much. And here's, we're going to do something in return. Give it just a moment. This is a little bit lower of a tune, so I don't know how much you're going to hear it. But here we go. I'm going to do 2 more. Take a deep breath. Ground and root. One more time. Deep breath. And focus on your solar plexus. Okay, you guys, stay focused on yourself today. Become the best version of yourself and be safe and take care. And if you do want to set up an appointment for biofield tuning, we're doing that right now. And the Vedic charts, past life charts, you know, whatever you need, we figure out a way to customize it. And there's all kinds of reviews here for the energy work that we have done, so you kind of understand what you know, what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We couldn't do it without you guys. Do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com if you want more information about us. And again, we are Reiki master teachers. We're practicing Qigong for decades, Pranic healing for decades, many different modalities of energy work and healing. Also, you know, even in the past, different aspects of physical healing as well. So we just want to share with you guys, and we want to give much gratitude for your love and being part of this family. And as always, guys, source bless and namaste.
Namaste.